Live. I think we are live.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. So, yeah. Hi. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ignite India Live Toppers Talk. Today's session, we have PRITIKA Srivastava, the Ignite alumni with us. So she was very bright student, and she was one of the topper. And she, uh, which NIFT you were in, Pritika? Can you hear me, Pritika?
I was yes. So
I
good evening, everyone. I'm Pritika, and I've been an Ignite India alumni. I'm from NIFT Bangalore. I'm a NIFT Bangalore alumni, and I have done knitwear designing course from there. So my association with Ignite India roots back to 2015 when I joined Ignite India as a student, and the journey from then has always been fruitful and always been very interactive. We've always been in touch and till now, and I'm sure moving further ahead also, I'll always need their guidance. And it is, getting constant feedback from their end, having interactions, learning something, giving out a lot of knowledge. All of that has been a part of my Ignite India journey. So it feels great to be here. Hello.
wanted to because you have achieved that in the like getting into the NIFT and also in the Bangalore. This is really something which is very, and that also in the beginning of the career. So that is very right step, and with your hard work and the dedication you have achieved that also. She I think she did very good internship, and also she was placed in she's placed in very good organization, one of the top leading e-commerce organization, and for the leading brand she's working. So Pritika, how was your journey? And in today's session, I want you especially to help NIFT aspirant. What was your preparation strategy? How you have prepared? And there are some topics which we there is a request from many viewers to explain the perspective, since you are very good in the perspective. So today's question of the day is perspective drawing. So briefly, if you can explain student how they can deal with perspective, and also because I think it's just few week like they have January में exam hai. So how they can prepare? How they can prepare? What should be their strategy? If somebody have already uh, just if they want to start their preparation, they have few week. Also, if someone, since I remember your 12th exam and exam was same year, right? So how did you
Yes,
manage?
yes.
Yeah, so how did you manage, and how Ignite India helped that also, because you are our student, and I do remember, I think you joined in 10th grade when you were in DPS, right?
Yeah.
Your parents were
Yes,
also there, and your
absolutely.
mom is
Correct.
also in a education field. She's also a
Background.
teacher, right? So and and
Yes.
and and we are really happy because you started your journey from 10th, and now you are into already the placement was good, internship was good, now you're already in a job, so you must be feeling it very confident because you have started earning also, right? So what is your
Yes,
the
absolutely.
future plan, how you're planning it, your what will be the next? So all these things definitely will be very helpful for the viewers. And yeah, so all yours now, you can take and just enlighten the student, ignite the our the viewers.
Definitely, definitely. Am I audible? Am I clear enough for you guys
Yes,
to
yes.
understand?
Yeah.
Go on, sir, if you could just give me a confirmation. Yeah.
Yeah, in YouTube.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning. So, yeah. So I started searching for a lot of coaching places where I wanted to, because I was also doing my proper academics, that is 11th, 12th as well. I was searching for an institution or a coaching which would help me balance both my NIFT preparation as well as give me time to study for my academics, right? And I found Ignite India to be the one of the most approachable places where I could go, because when I reached Ignite India, as Govind sir mentioned, I had come in with my parents, kind of understood the entire concepts, and I was given quite a bit of a reality check as to where are the points where you need to work really hard, when do you have to give time. And since I had already started early, I did have that advantage where I had a spanning time of 2 years to prepare for the examination. And with Ignite India, I got in a lot of help from the very beginning, a very consistent help throughout my 2 years of journey, be it in terms of sample question papers, be it in terms of the kind of classes we are doing, be it GAT preparation, CAT preparation. So that kept happening for 2 years, and it kind of made me a very confident person as to the kind of questions that will come. So I was educated not only blindly as to what I have to learn, but a lot of references as to what was coming in the previous exams was also given to me. And since our coaches were also from the NIF background, they did educate us and they did give us a lot of knowledge as to how NIFT is in real life, the kind of department you should choose as per your interest, how is life in NIFT in general. And since they were NIFTians, they also did go through the examination. They did give us a lot of good strategies as to how to finish your exam in time, because that is also an anxiety which is built up in students, that what if they don't finish the examination on time, right? And to finish it on time, you need to be very planned from the very beginning, especially when it comes to GAT, because even though the percentage of GAT is fairly low, but it does count in to a lot of marks that you can bag, right? So I feel that when you're giving your CAT and even your GAT, you need to be very strategic with the time that you're given, because the time is very limited and you need to be very fast as to how to finish a paper on time, right? So if I start off with GAT, because that is a smaller portion, for GAT, like we had 4 sections, that is general knowledge, we had analytics, we had mathematics, and we had English, right? So while you're in Ignite India, when you're in a coaching vicinity, the advantage that you have is that you have different people who are masters in the subject that they're teaching you, and you get to learn in depth about each and every subject, right? And when you do that, you also realize that which subject is going to take you a lot of time, right? Like for say a quantitative part might take an individual a lot more time than probably in English, or vice versa, right? So when you have different places and when you concentrate, you get to know that this is your forte, and for say maths is very easy for you to do, or analytics is very easy for you to do. So you kind of leave that for later part, and the things which are a little complex for you as an individual, you kind of try to finish that first, so that you and set up particular timing for yourself, that this is an hour and I need to finish the difficult parts in an hour. What I did during my GAT was that the things which I found, which were a little bit more heavy, like for say for me it was English, because in English you have to read very thoroughly for the answers that you have to give. So what I did was that I finished my English part very early, and I, because that needed the maximum amount of my concentration that time, right? And followed by that, I went with the subjects which I was more confident in. I kept that for later because I was sure that I will finish it in the timeline, right? So that is how you prepare for GAT. And again, for GAT also, another thing is that the coaching will give you all the help and guidance that you need, but that does not mean that just because you're going to a coaching, you do not prepare for you do not prepare yourself, right? You really have to sit yourself also and look at things, because it is not like school. Because since at that time we come from school, we always think that, while we are studying in a school, we have particular portions which are given to us, and you have to study that and you will get questions from that itself, right? And that is only the space in which you are when you are preparing for your entrance. But when you are going for an entrance examination, the width of the knowledge that you need to have is supposed to be very high, right? So constantly keep expanding your knowledge, educating yourself as to what is the general knowledge, keep solving questions. You'll get a lot of material from Ignite India, and keep solving that. And you always have faculties and coaches who can always give you more and more if you ask them for it. So that is on the GAT part, that be very consistent on the GAT, especially the analytics and the quantitative parts, because you need to keep practicing. And for GK, you need to keep reminiscing what has happened, not just now, in the future or in the past also, what is going to happen in the future, what are the things which are awaiting, right? So those are the things you need to keep in mind. Coming to CAT, that is the creative ability test. One very major point for a creative ability test is that just bifurcate what is CAT, right? It is a creative ability test. A lot of times what happens is that fashion people who are NIFT aspirants, we come, including myself as well, what happens is that we are very good with our artistic skills, and hence we think that design is a very suitable career for us, right? And that is what inclines us to places like NIFT, because fashion designing again becomes a more commercial and a more viable career to choose rather than being an artist or a painter, right? But when you're going for your CAT, never go into the exam thinking that you need to be very artistic or you need to have the best sketching happening. When you're giving your CAT exam, you need to be very logical. Your design should be simple, and it should be something which the person who is evaluating, or not just a person who's evaluating, anybody who is looking at your drawing or looking at your answer is able to understand what you're trying to convey, right? Because when you go in from a very artistic perspective, things can get very complex. The entire point of having a CAT examination is how simply can you solve the problem that they've given you, right? That is the point. And of course, having an artistic approach to it can always give you a plus point, but that is not the only thing you need to concentrate on. You need to be very practical, and you need to be very you need to be very logical with how you approach the question, right? That is very important. And of course, you need to do it in the time limit that you have. That is another thing. And coming to post you finish your examinations, if you're selected, you again have another round, which is of a situation test, right? So the main aim of having a situation test is to evaluate how good you are with material and tactile objects, right? Because when you're doing fashion designing, you are not, it is not really most of the courses that you have, except for say an FC, that is fashion communication. The rest of the courses are where you deal with tactile products, like you deal with apparel or you deal with product. So situation test is basically for you, for them to understand what are your capabilities of dealing with material, right? Because every test that they take is not just because they want to do it. Every test has a reason, right? And that is how you're evaluated. So again, in situation test, you're given a set of materials, and you have to create something out of that based on the questions that they give you, right? So always go in with a mindset of a designer, and just of a designer, and always know what design really stands for, right? Design stands for solving problems. That is the only rule of design. It needs to solve problem, and it needs to look good. It needs to be aesthetic, and not your personal aesthetic, an aesthetic which is commercially viable, right? When you're a designer, you don't design anything for yourself, you design it for a large group of people, and you expect a large group of people to like what you're designing, right? So it needs to be commercially very viable. It needs to be something which is very easy to understand, and design is supposed to be self-explanatory, right? That is how it is supposed to be. And after that, post you finish your situation test, and after that you do your campus selection. Again, campus selection is something, the whichever campus you get, it doesn't really matter that much, but certainly you will always have a brownie point when you are in good campuses like better campuses like Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, Chennai, right? The metropolitan cities. And reason to it being is because over there you have more exposure, you have more brands. But it's not a problem even if you get any other centers, because overall you're getting an education and you have to enter the same industry, right? Post that, what happens is that once you enter NIFT, you have to be very careful of the kind of course you choose, because it is something which kind of determines the direction in which your entire career will go, at least in the very initial phase, right? Probably after a point when you finish your course and you know that you can explore something else, that is always a direction you can choose, but always be very careful as to which course you're choosing, right? Because, and be educated about the kind of courses you want to do. Like when I was choosing a course, I had the Ignite India coaches tell me about each and every course and what were they offering for us as students, and what will the course offer me for my job opportunities also, right? So that way, if you go, you have to be very careful as to the kind of course you choose, be very mindful. And yeah, overall with the preparation also, do not go in with a very high artistic approach. Always go in with the design approach. And always remember the design is supposed to be, you should not be there present to explain somebody what your concept or your design is. Yeah.
Yeah, Pratika. So now uh, I I would like you to just throw some the lights on your preparation strategy. And
Okay.
also I want to just announce for the student, if you like how Pritika shared that previous year question papers are very, very important. And like
Absolutely.
in this series, other toppers have also mentioned that solving the previous year question paper is very, very helpful for you, and you will understand the question pattern. And previous year question papers are there on the Ignite India app. So if somebody is watching it, you can download the app and go to free study section. There you will get previous year question paper. Also, we have launched the test series. So all of you can solve one free mock test paper on the test series.igniteindiaeducation.com, which is available. And along with this, there are the 7, 8 other test series um, related to your the your current affairs and other stuff. So that also just I will take you through. Everybody, I just want to share you that this is very good portal. Okay, so here you can actually go and solve paper, and you will know how much mark and which portion, actually portion wise you will get the uh, your marks, so that will definitely help you in planning your preparation strategy. So this is the link. If you type ignitecity.igniteindiaeducation.com, and if you open this, so this kind of interface you will see, and here you can already see these all exam: National Institute of Design, NIFT, and UCEED for all the courses. Now in the NIFT, if you see B Design, BF Tech, MFM, MF Tech, M Design, for all these courses you have the test series. And the first mock test paper is free of cost. So you just need to register for this. You need to fill your detail, and you can immediately start 100 question, 100 marks, 180 minutes. So 180 minutes time you need, and you can solve. So this is exactly how you will solve your NIFT question. Right. So this will be very, very helpful and highly recommended if anybody want to try. And topic wise tests are also there. So English and reasoning ability test, and the current affairs, if you see monthly current affairs for 22, you can see here January, March, June, July, or till October. Already it is there, and we are going to update this. So November also will be there. Last week of November or first week of October, we are going to update the November month. This also. So this is very, very helpful, and very, very 199 rupees just you need to pay, which is just operational cost to running this portal for all of you. So you can just pay, but first mock test paper is free of cost for each section, and you can just fill. So this will be helpful definitely for all of you. And there are different live sessions also we have planned for you. So if you have just started watching this channel and you are new to this channel, then this is highly recommended for all of you to subscribe the channel, so that whenever we will be live, you will get updates from our end. And we have Instagram, Ignite India. There also you will get a lot of updates related to GK or any exam related. So there also you can go and follow the Ignite India uh, uh, Instagram, and we will be keep posting related videos related to NIFT, NID, UCEED. If you have any question after live, also you can write your comment in the comment section. We are going to answer all your doubts after live also. अभी जो देख रहे हो कुछ question है, you can ask in the chat box. That also we are going to answer. So Pratika, I just want you to systematically, if you can explain, if we have now, we have कितने दिन है देखो, November almost is over, so December, okay, how to prepare NIFT in 30 days. Okay, so let's discuss this. So first I want to understand from you how you have started your preparation and how long you took. It was I think you have started early, right? When you started?
Yeah. I had started the preparation of NIFT from the time I was in 11th grade. And from 11th, I completed an entire 11th standard and then my 12th as well. But certainly right before the exam, the kind of preparation you do is very different from what you do throughout the year, because you have to concentrate a lot, right? And as you asked,
if somebody is planning to start from scratch now, what should be the strategy? According to me, I think I want to know your opinion also, and then we will discuss, and that will be definitely helpful, because many of them, if somebody have already started, good, so they can go, they can solve the test series, they can check their so to some these these test series portal is for everyone, is open for all, so you can check. Rest, there are some exclusive test series which is advanced level. For that you can, any student, if you're enroll in somewhere else also, if you want, you can join our test series advanced, that is there on the app. So for that you need to connect with the admission team. But this test series which I showed you, it's open for all, and this is very good, and very less, they just say nominal amount, just a registration fee 199 rupees you need to pay, and you can register, that you can go. But somebody who will start now, right, so for 30 days, just 4 weeks, what should be their strategy and how they can crack me?
Absolutely. So the first thing that you should start, since there's a limited time, is to start with a planning, right? Have a timetable, have a particular plan that this is what I'm going to do, and this is the time what I'm going to give to a particular thing. So when you start planning, what happens is that immediately and automatically your efficiency increases, right? Because you already have things lined up, you know what to do. So you don't waste time, and you don't feel like wasting time, because you also know that there's a very limited time that you have, right? So it starts, and because you already know what the syllabus of NIFT is, it is going to be very efficient if you start planning how to study and how to have your timetable fixed, right? And after that, you should, once you have your plan, slowly you should start working on your speed, right? Because one thing that we all are aware of is that while you're giving the examination, you have a very limited time period, right? So you need to really work on your speed and kind of make it get it to an optimal level, and since you have study material, you have mock tests, those are the tools you can use to increase your speed. And also know ki for say maybe an English ka section is taking me 30 minutes, right? GK is taking me 10 minutes, maths is taking me 25 minutes, like whatever is your breakup, right? What happens with that is that you can very efficiently plan and solve your paper on time, right? So planning and working on your speed is very important. After that, the third thing that you need to do simultaneously with this is that you really need to refine your general knowledge skills, right? Even one day before the exam, what has happened is something you should be aware of. It is not really necessary that you read each and every book and kind of try to memorize general knowledge, but be aware of what is happening, right, in and around, what is happening and what has happened in the past. So what are the kind of questions that can come, what is trending, be it a political vicinity, be it sports, be it acting, be it an entertainment vicinity, be it new brand launch, anything. It can be it's a large array, so you need to keep yourself updated and kind of have that as a habit, because you have 30 days to prepare. Keep that as a habit, that even if you are having a free time or you're having a meal or just scrolling through your phone, just keep going through general knowledge, because that is very, very important. Probably something that you just read randomly might be a question that they'll ask you, right? So always be on your toes when it comes to general knowledge, because that is very, very, very important, right? And the rest of the portions, because see, what happens in GK is that you cannot sit and study GK, right? You can do maths, you can do analytics, you can do English by sitting and concentrating and planning, right? As I mentioned earlier, GK is something you need to keep doing, and the more the merrier is the logic with GK, right? And then after that, what you really need to work is on refining your visualization skills, right? You need to be very good, clear and thorough with the concepts you want to show to the evaluators, right? Anything, it can be, you can get a question on any political views, what are your views, what is happening. Like for say during our time when I was giving my examination, monetization was a very happening topic, right? So you need to prepare yourself that you simplify the answer, but it needs a lot of work to happen, right? So keep refining your visualization skills, keep sketching, keep, you know, bringing in concepts, bringing it in easy concepts, take a lot of feedback. That is what I would like to suggest, that the more and more feedback you take from people, the more you'll get to know how your visualization skills are improving, right? Because with GAT, with maths, quantitative analytics and those vicinities, ki answer, iska sahi answer is A or iska sahi answer is C, you know what the correct answer is, so you can judge yourself. But whereas when it comes to creative ability tests, you need to take in a lot of feedbacks, take in feedbacks from your coaches, take in feedback from the people around you, that how is it looking, is the concept coming out clearly. So refine your skills and take in a lot of feedback. And I'm sure that the if you are preparing, you'll always have people around you who are going to be very supportive and give you feedback. Like when I was preparing for my cat examination, I always used to call up the for say Krishna sir, who is a part of Ignite India. Always call him up, send him images of what I'm doing, and then take the feedback as to what is happening, right? That is very important. And these are the 4 steps that if you follow, that is A, planning. You plan your entire day, plan your entire schedule. Okay, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to solve the mock test paper and do this for the entire 30 days. Then work on your speed. Eventually, see, you will not get the speed on the first day, right? The more and more you practice, the more and more speed you will acquire. So keep working on your speed, keep reading a lot of general knowledge, ask people what's happening around. Right now we have so many tools to know about what's happening in and around the world. And it is not just restricted to fashion, GK. A lot of people think that NIFT ka GK general knowledge is just related to fashion. It's not at all that way. It can be related to politics, it can be related to business, it can be related to fashion, sport, daily news, anything, right? Regional news, world news, international news. It can be anything. So keep educating yourself, keep asking your parents, anybody who's in and around, about what's happening in and around, right? And moving ahead to the visualization skills, keep working, keep sketching, because sketching again it's a very important part of how you put across your concepts, right? So be very clear with your concepts. Do not overcomplicate it in your head as well, and do not overcomplicate it on the paper as well, right? Because you are not just the only person whose paper they are checking. There are many people, there are many students. You need to have a concept which the evaluator looks at and is very easy to understand. That gets you marks, right? You need to know how to bag points in a creative ability test, because in a general ability test, ki your answer is correct or your answer is wrong. Creative ability test is where you need to know how to bag marks. That's why take in a lot of feedback, because again in Ignite India, all the faculties that you have are from the National Institute of Fashion Technology, right? They have been through this. They are currently might be working in organizations. They're continuously interacting with a lot of people. So take their valuable feedback and implement it in your drawing. Do not be very critical, or do not be very complicated with the way you put out your things. Be simple, but yes, it should be something which has a very aesthetic front. It needs to be neat and clean. You need to be very prepared when you're going also to the examination. Always plan your things pehle, have your admit card with you, reach there half an hour early. It's fine, you can always reach there half an hour early. Take a seating half an hour before the exam starts. While you're filling in your paper, be very careful with how you write your admission numbers, right? Those are the few things that can either make or break your CAT and GAT exam, right? So be very careful and be mindful. More than careful, be mindful as to the things you do. You really need to be calm. If you do it in a very busy mind, it's going to get very difficult for you. So be calm and do it nicely, and you need to be very efficient with how you do it, right? Plan your GAT and plan your CAT very efficiently. For GAT, you have various questions, but they are in sections, so you have an advantage there, right? The sections which you feel you're going to take in a lot of time, and you will figure that out once you start solving mock papers. You will get to know that I finished English in this amount of time, I finished GK in this amount of time. You will know how much time you're taking and plan that way. Whatever section takes you a lot of time, finish that first. And yeah, finish that in the limited time you're giving yourself. You always have to be very strict with yourself when you are doing the GAT paper as well, because if you're giving yourself an hour for say for English, you have to do it in an hour. If there are any questions left, move outside and move ahead, because if you're stuck on one thing, you will never be able to finish the paper. So be very efficient in planning your time, and of course you have to keep efficiently increasing your speed, and go in with a clear mind for your CAT examination. Do not take stress of what happened in the GAT or how is it happening, will I do well. Those are the things which you need to leave aside, and you need to do very well in your GAT. Have your stationaries in on time, have everything sharpened. All these minute details are very important, because you do not want anything to eat your time while you're doing your CAT examination, right? So be very careful, and this is how I planned it, right? I planned my entire schedule. These few days I'm going to concentrate on English, these are the few days I'm going to concentrate on maths, these are the few days I'll do analytics, and GK was something I kept doing any which ways with all of this. And once I finished my for say a 10-day course of revising thoroughly, I started doing mock test papers, right? So when you do your mock test papers also, do not give yourself the leverage of doing it at whatever timeline you want. Give yourself 3 hours. If you're not able to finish the paper, it's fine. Pick that paper up again and start working on it again after an hour or something, right? But keep taking the study material and keep doing till the time you do not do the mock test. You will never get to know how much time you're going to take to finish the examination. This is a key, and this is a lesson that everybody has learned, and this is something you need to do. And because you have limited time, you have to keep practicing. Be in an environment which is similar to what will be in the examination hall, right? Do not just say it like I solved all the questions very correctly, but it took me 5 hours. No, then there is no point of solving it in 5 hours, right? So you need to be very efficient and give yourself that time. Be strict with yourself and be disciplined. This is what I did. And after that, certainly, when you start drawing and doing things like that, taking a lot of feedback, I used to eat the heads of my faculties as to, what is it looking fine? Is it validating? Do you think this matches with what the question I've asked? Is it answering it efficiently and viably? So these are a few tips and tricks. Keep it with yourself. And even when you go to the exam, no matter how well you prepare, if you do not perform during the examination, all your preparation will be nil. It is of no point. So taking your stationaries properly, carry your water bottle. These are the few things you need to do, because when you're in an examination, you need to give in your 100% without thinking of anything otherwise. So even if your preparation, you feel, कि you have not prepared very well or you had very less time, just giving your 100% during the examination, and I'm sure that anybody can get through if they prepare well and they take the preparation very seriously. Yeah.
I will just summarize what all you have very valid point you have said. Okay, so you have spoke about time management, which is very important. Then you said that how their mock test is important, because in exam they will have only 2 hours for GAT paper and
Correct.
3 hours for CAT paper, right? So that means
Hmm.
if 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 any aspirant they want to solve these paper within the time, planning is
Hmm.
important, also practice is important equally. Now you have 4 weeks.
Absolutely. Yes.
4 weeks you have. So what is recommended? First thing, see what all you said, I'm just trying to summarize. Also, just this is the takeaway from the whole discussion. So in 4 weeks, you need to plan these 4 weeks as per the curriculum, weightage of the exam. So if you see
Hmm.
50% weightage is for CAT paper, right, which is
Correct.
creative ability test for UG design.
Hmm.
So weightage is 50%. That means you know how important this is. Then you have GAT paper. GAT
Hmm.
is 30% weightage, right? So
Hmm.
now in first round, shortlisting will be based on this 50 and plus 30. If you are shortlisted, then only you will be on the second round, which is situation test. Their weightage will be 20%, right? So we will talk later
Yes.
about the situation test. Let's focus on
Hmm.
CAT and GAT part, right?
Yeah.
CAT part, if CAT part in CAT, if you remember which all topic were there, like
Yeah.
logo,
I remember my topics very
some
well. Hmm.
yeah, so logo
Hmm.
design, right? The
Hmm.
maybe I think composition drawing, right? So if
Correct.
you can
Correct.
throw some
So
light on the CAT part and how they can prepare this.
yeah.
So lot of mock test paper actually they should solve. So I want you to if you can, if you remember the topics, also some topics which you feel will be relevant. So which all how to
Hmm.
how to first, if you can throw some light on the CAT part, will be good for aspirants.
Sure. So we had three questions that had come in for us, right? The first question was that depict balance, the concept of balanced and unbalanced through a pictorial reference, right? So that was my first question. And the second question that we had was where we had a few options, which was on design a graphic t-shirt, and the question was to design a graphic t-shirt, and the three topics that we had was one was on wildlife, the other one was on music is the soul of life, and the third one was on chosen music is the soul of life. And that was the topic which I perform which I drew. And then the third question that we had was a perspective based drawing. So it was an, as Govind sir mentioned, it was a scenario based question that we had, where draw in, you are sitting in a car and drawing from that perspective what's happening at a traffic signal, right? So you are sitting inside a car and you have to draw what's happening in a traffic signal. So that is where perspective drawing plays an important role, right? So these were the three questions that I had, and the answers that I gave were very, very simple. So for say, my first one was a theory of balance and unbalance, right? So for balance, I had shown a stack of books which were there, which were balanced, and another one was where there was an unbalance because the base of the furniture on which the books were kept was not really balanced. So you might right now think that it is a very simple thing to do. It is not something which is very great and very artistic and very grandeur, but exactly what design is about, right? They have asked you what is balance and unbalanced. You show them pictorially what is balance and unbalanced, right? And then I had a graphic related question where I chose the topic of music is the soul of life, because again that is a very, I thought as per my perspective that it is the most commercially viable topic out of all of them. So I took a fashion color t-shirt and then I illustrated my graphic on it, and then we had perspective drawing as well. So again that was a scenario based, so we had to stick to what was being asked, but certainly we had to have a perspective technicalities on point. And that is, those were the three questions that we had. And then cat and this was for cat, right? And what I did was, at the time that I had, I knew that the pictorial, the last question that was there, which had higher weightage as well. I knew that I had to give it more time compared to the rest of the questions. So I kind of divided it into half. So for say I had 2 hours for my CAT. So I gave myself 45 minutes for the last question, which had the highest weightage, and the rest of the time that I had, I divided it into those 2 questions, right? And I also gave myself 10 minutes of an extra time so that, if I want to do any finishing, I want to, kind of add in more minute details, I can always do that, right? So I always, from my total time, I minus 10 minutes so that I can always refine my skills and do a nice write up and give, for say, perspective drawing, you need to have in a lot of details. So I gave myself that extra time as well. So this is how it is. And before you start also anything, that the material that you're taking with yourself, right there, have them, test them at home. Are you comfortable using those, for say, color pencils or water pens or whatever you're taking, whatever is your stationery of choice, right? And be prepared. Shouldn't be like, you're sitting and sharpening your color pencils in the exam hall. Don't do all that. Go very well prepared, because these things eat a lot of time, right? So be prepared, take all your stationery, there in this place in CAT. You all take the stationery which is relevant for you. Don't overload yourself that you're all cluttered when you know that, for say, like I knew that watercolor pencils is something that I want to use for my examination, right? So I just carried those. I carried a few sketch pens. I took pencils, erasers, sharpeners. So just something which I required, right? Don't take in a lot of stationery thinking that I'll use all of it. A, you won't have that much time, and B, you will be very confused and in a very cluttered space, right? You also need to understand that when we are doing things at home, right? This is also another thing that I realized when I was doing my CAT, that when you're doing it at home now, you are giving yourself a lot of space, and we put our stationery everywhere, and we kind of have that leverage. But when you're in an exam hall, you have very, it's a long bench. I don't know, it might be different for other places, but you have a very limited vicinity in which you sit and do your examinations, right? So kind of prepare yourself for that also, that you have a very limited space. How you want to organize, always be very organized. Don't be messy during the CAT exams, because these are a few things that take your time, and you will not realize also, because you'll be like, I did my paper but it still didn't go well. But if you're organized, you will always have that extra time. Give yourself always an extra time to revise, kind of add in minute details, do good shading, add in more color, enhance your technique of showing your concepts, right? So that is very important for your CAT examination.
Okay, so I will just summarize again the what you have you just recollected your question paper, how you wrote in the exam, which was very, very knowledgeable and helpful for the audience. So you mentioned that human anatomy and composition drawing, perspective, okay, theme-based product, or like, any other, like, the material or any product they might get in the exam, animal anatomy. So these things, now if I will break down this, and if we will make the preparation strategy in 4 weeks. So since 50% weightage is there now, if you see the previous year question paper, okay, so in previous year question paper, you will see similar kind of stuff which is there. That is why I said all the CAT paper you should check previous year question paper, 10-year question paper. I think 15-year question paper is there in the in the Ignite India app. So if you will see similar kind of one composition will be there, one the inspirational motive, or there are some question where sequence based questions are also I have seen in the previous year, where like holding a bulb and then fitting into the and drawing the steps. So or maybe flag hosting or something like similar kind of so this kind of question will be there, or perspective based question composition from not the on the natural eye line, but from the top, or like bird is sitting on the tree and watching the street, what will be the view, or you are on the top floor of the building and niche the street way, there is a the theft happened, koi kisi ne chori ki, bhag raha hai chor, baki, so what will, so there if you see what, so perspective is there, and plus that there is a situation, right? So situation based, like, the questions, so these all things will be there. But how you can prepare this kind of question is very easy in a limited time. If you want, you just break down. So you break down in the composition, what all things will be there. There will be humans, right? So learn human anatomy, watch videos are there on the Ignite, and or also you can, there is a form you are going to register. If you will register this, we are going to organize the 3-hour boot camp, which is completely free of cost. So link is there in this chat, and the 3-hour boot camp will be with me and other experts, and also we will be inviting students like Pritika. So there also they will be well prepared, and within 4 weeks, how you can crack NIFT, that we are going to disclose in the boot camp. Now, in this 4 weeks, if I divide, first one is human anatomy. Human anatomy, the way it is, like, everywhere written, the 7.5 head, or so those may take lot of time, right? So just simply, if I'll explain you how quickly, if you want. So what is required now is in, like, preparation, like, technique also, there is some kind of, like, advancement is required. That is because time is less. So now similar thing, if I have to explain, right? So suppose this is the human, like, the human full like, human this thing. Now how one line you need to draw, you just fold, just I'm folding this paper for your, like, better understanding. So divide into 3 parts, right? Divide into 3 parts, first, second, third. Now this one, right here, if you see, so in this middle, now if you add in this, there will be head, and you need to add feet. This is the feet, this is the knee line, and this is the waistline. Like that, if you will divide, and then if you will draw, you will get the, so this kind of few things you have to explore. Few things we will help you how quickly you can draw human figure, and not, like, exactly because in 4 weeks you can't follow all the 7.5 head, like, technique, and you'll, yes, basic understanding is required. If especially this is for those students who, if you are planning to start your preparation now, or you are not good in a human anatomy, you are like, preparing it from the past 1 year, but you have not focused on the human anatomy. So these are important. Similar way for animals also, there will be some techniques which we will be, like, we will be helping you with all, like, this kind of shape. If you'll make how to add some boxes, and then feed. So these all things we will, like, talk in detail in the boot camp. So so you register for the boot camp, which will be in the coming weeks. And also there will be multiple live sessions where we will be inviting toppers like Pritika, like she has shared very important, like, inputs during the exam. You should focus. If you are in CAT, if you are sitting in the CAT exam, don't think about GAT. Agar pehle GAT का देखे और उसमें तो अच्छा नहीं हुआ यार. So this is very, this will give, that will dim. वहाँ जो हुआ, all good. In you are sitting in this, at least focus in this paper, right? And then also she said, she, like, mentioned that within 3 hours you should focus completely. Okay, कहीं पे रुक जाते हो, if some difficult question is there, उसको बाद में try करो. First you go and solve which is easiest. Focus on your strength. So these are things, very valid points she has shared. I'm trying to summarize so that you will know. And if somebody have joined just now, watch the entire video. This, like, session will be very, very helpful for all of you. If you're watching it, if you have joined now, watch whole, like, video. So for the CAT part, there the animation is there, and then the perspective. Now perspective, actually the perspective is a very big, like, topic, right? I think perspective is there in the first year NIFT, and this is there in the this perspective will be in the architecture, and in all, like, all the UG or PG courses, some, like, perspective will be there. So this is very, very important for all of you to understand the basic. But now cracking entrance exam is a different, like, game, right? And within the 3 hour, how you will be, like, nobody, if you know lot of things, right? If you know a lot of things, you are very good with the skills, then also you may get less mark. And if you will, if you are starting your preparation with right guidance and with your own, like, where you are very focused, so dedicate every day, dedicate few hours. If you have 12 exams, then what you can do, you can divide your day, right? You plan your day, okay,
Correct.
this time for this, for 12, so this is my, so there you don't touch that, okay, ठीक है, वहां पे वो करना है, वहां जो ट्यूशन है आपके, दूसरी चीजें हैं उसके लिए, just make sure that you are, like, you are very, very disciplined, at least for few months, because this is very, very important, uh, like, the phase of your life, because the 12th marks is also important, right? That will be always with you. Anybody will see your CV, they will see your 12 marks, kitna percentage hai. Similar way, this exam is very, very important if you want to join NIFT. So, and why, if you will score well in NIFT entrance, you will get good campus, placement will be good, right? That means placement is good when means you will get good package, good money, your life will be good, right? Everybody wants that, right? And if you're in good campus later, like how, like, Pritika, we are going to discuss now with the Pritika, what is the next step, because almost 1 year or 2 year, how many years you have completed after your UG course?
After my UG course, it's been around over a year and a half in the industry for me.
Now she might think for what is next, whether she should like, continue job, because she's working in a very good organization. She's working in a leading e-commerce, like, retail organization, and very good international brands she's handling, and she's, like, designing. Are you designing menswear, right? You're in menswear or women's wear?
I am designing menswear. Primarily I'm designing menswear for
which,
various
which category you are handling?
international brands. Yeah.
Which,
I am handling polos, crew necks, and we have winter wear also. Over there, I'm handling outerwear jackets.
So outerwear jacket, so both are very good, like, categories. So and good, like, career opportunities you will get. So this is one way to, like, to, like, go, and there are other way where you might have plan for higher study. So these all things will be like, we would like to invite you for other session, and that we will discuss. But now, if let's talk and focus on the, like, today's, like, the discussion, how to crack NIFT within a month, within a few weeks. So for this CAT paper is important. We have already, like, covered few things, like, the, like, designing logo, redesigning logo, right? Or like, sequence based questions, how you can do. So you have to find out your technique. Also, there will be our, like, the class is boot camp 3 hour especially, and then we are going to start alpha batch soon. So alpha batch will be just like, the bullet train kind of speech you will have for the preparation, whole thing, like, and there will be all, like, our star faculty will be there. They will be dedicating time. And last year we had in the alpha batch, we have around 200 students, and everyone, they have cleared NIFT, right? So for alpha batch, which were very selective, if you are studying somewhere, and if you want to join alpha batch, you can join. This is you, so everyone can join alpha batch. Is open for everybody. Boot camp is free of course. 3 hour boot camp we are going to organize. There we will be disclosing so many other technique, how to, like, within a week you will see improvement. Even in each 3 hour session, after each 3 hour session, you will see improvement in your drawing skills, right? And you actually, you will start solving the paper. So what we will do, we will, through different mock test paper, we will give you paper, we will try to help you, and then and there only we will explain you, okay, this. So we will show you different techniques, okay? So using different kind of shape, different kind of, like, the how you can use your pencil and draw the human in the exam hall, right? What will be the proportion, how to divide this, how this will become human, or how this will become, like, animal, right? How we will, so these quick things we are going to teach actually we will be learning together. We will be taking your view, also, and we will be some new things also evolving, new technique. The way I said, something I will tell, we will leave you, and there will be good, the around 15 to 20 students will be in each alpha batch, and around we are expecting 15-20 alpha batches, and there is a limited seat. We will be closing this soon. So first up, you can register for the boot camp. Come to the boot camp. We will be very in the 3 hour. We are going to discuss, and we are going to decode the whole cat part, right? All the logo design, right? Animal, the anatomy, human anatomy, how you can make composition. So composition, now if you start from the scratch, it will take a lot of time actually. This the traditional method of teaching 1 year piche jaise padha rahe, that will not help you at all now. So, and these classes are important for those somebody who is planning to start from scratch, very important, or somebody actually was not focused from previous 9-10 months, and now still you have time, and you are with the right people, right team, right? And some of you might not know me. My name is Govind Kumar Singh, and I was assistant professor in NIFT. I was teaching in NIFT, and I am NIFT alumni, graduated from NIFT Bangalore. Pritika is also junior from the NIFT Bangalore. She was also my student. Okay, so she was my student, and we had regular the interaction during for the internship or any kind of the graduation project or the placement interview. Every time we had a interaction. So we will be in a touch. If you're once you're part of Ignite, not only me, you have Krishna sir, you have Gaurav sir, there are a lot of other you have most senior person, Mr. Pradeep Rathore sir. He was ex VP in the Madura government. So you will have good reach, and so let's Pratika, if you can decode all this, if you can put your point of opinion, how they can get because I remember for you making those fashion illustration 9-head drawings, right? You used to solve. So now since they don't have time, what is the technique where they can keep all these steps, then also they can crack. That is a way, systematic way, right? If you can show some tips like perspective, if you can this was the question of the day, right? So perspective, if you can explain, if you have some PDF or anything which you can show, some ideas if you can throw for the human anatomy, wherever you feel you can support them, just give your input for these topics, so that at least they will get overall idea. And and later also for each topic we are going to post video. So this is my request for all of you. If you're watching, if you're watching it now or later, if you will watch after the live, you must subscribe and press the bell icon button so that you will get notification, automatic notification. Also, these the prospective drawing related PDFs and other things are available free of cost on Ignite India app. So you can download. It's there in the Play Store. Yeah, it's available on iOS. So there also you can iOS, you need to download the My Institute and put the code PVH. So those all detail is also there in the video description. So you can PHUVHU code is that you need to put, so you will get this right. In Google Play, you just need to type Ignite India. You will see the logo, same logo which you see on the Ignite India channel, YouTube channel. Download the app and start using it. So yeah, if you can just just you can throw some lights on the perspective.
Sure. So I'll throw some light on perspective drawing. I'll first start off with what perspective drawing is exactly, and then probably we can go with visual representation for you guys to understand better, right? So the logic behind perspective drawing is very simple, right? Objects which are closer to us appear larger in size, and the objects which are far from us appear smaller in size. This is the core of perspective drawing, right? Or perspective in general, right? So also, whatever is the actual size of the object, it appears bigger or smaller in the perspective, right? smaller in relativity to the other objects that are surrounding it, right? So in conclusion, the size or the shape of the object depends on how far or near the object it is and its relativity to the object surrounding it, right? Now, speaking of the technical aspects, I'll just show you. I'll just share my screen, right? Speaking of the technical aspects, right, which are to be kept in point while doing perspective drawing are one, vanishing point, and second, the horizon point, right? So in basically what happens is, like over here you have a basic illustration of what the boxes are, right? So you have different kinds of perspective that you have. We have 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, and you also have 3 point perspective, right? And how are they differentiated from each other is the number of vanishing points you have, right? So I'll now tell you what exactly vanishing point is. So if you notice that as things go far from us, they keep getting smaller and smaller, and eventually they become a point, right? After a point, it vanishes and it just becomes a point. That exact point is called the vanishing point. And if I put it on a technical term as to how to place your vanishing point in a drawing, so it is always going to be at the viewer's eye level. And because when you're doing a perspective drawing, it has always has to be from a viewing point of view, right? So your vanishing point is supposed to be at the eye level of the viewer, because it suggests the position of the viewer, right? Probably a viewer is sitting, so when you're sitting and looking up, your vanishing point will be at a different space. If you're standing and you're looking at something further and you're drawing that, your vanishing point is going to be at a different place, right? So it is that basically vanishing point is the most pivotal uh, thing that you need to place very precisely for your perspective to be accurate, right? And if you see, this is the vanishing point. So if you look at this, and again, vanishing point is at infinity, right? It is not that when you look at things also, uh, just for example, just take a very basic example, a very layman example of, for say, street lights, right? So the one which is the closest to you will appear the tallest, whereas when you keep, if you look further, it keeps vanishing to an array, right? So that is what a vanishing point is. So that is, you have to place it at a very accurate level to get your perspectives right. Again, the second thing is a horizon line, right? So this is a vanishing point and this is the horizon line, right? So horizon line, which is also called the eye level line, is an imaginary line which is drawn above the vanishing point, right? It is drawn across the vanishing point, and the horizon line, right, it basically divides the object into above eye level and below eye level, right? And it is very important to have an above eye level and lower below eye level idea, so that the perspective at which you're seeing, the angle, the size, all of it is determined by whether the object is at eye level, above eye level, or lower eye level, right? And horizon line helps you depict that. Like for say over here, if you see, this is a 1 point perspective that is happening. So you're seeing that this is going like this, right? But for say, if it was above the viewer's eye level, you would not see the top part, you would see the bottom part of the cube, right? So that is why horizon line and vanishing point is very important. Moving ahead, okay, now look at this, exactly what I was saying. So this is a horizon line, and this is an eye level, and this is above eye level, and this is below eye level. So if you're taking cube is a very solid example for you to take, right? So when you're doing it at below eye level, if you're looking at something niche, if you're looking at something which is down on the ground, you will see the top part of something, right? And if something is stacked on top, you will always see the bottom part of it. So that is what perspective is about, and the technicalities are something you need to be very accurate with. And there are only two main technicalities to perspective drawing: vanishing point and horizon point. I'm repeating it again and again because it is very essential for you to know, right? And then probably if you for say take a 2 point perspective, so as I mentioned earlier, you have 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point majorly, and they're all because of the number of vanishing points they have. Now what happens with 2 point perspective is that you take two vanishing points, right? So you have a vanishing point on your left and you have a vanishing point on your right. Now it is based on your creativity that how much of a distance you want to keep. Again, you have a horizon, you have a horizon here as well, right here in the front also you keep a reference line, and based on that you have the angles at which you draw the draw anything that you want, right? And what happens when you increase the number of vanishing points you add is that it brings in more realism to your brings in more realism, complexity, and it gives in a more real life effect to your drawings, right? So this is a 2-point perspective where you have two vanishing points which are parallel to each other. So this is a step-by-step guide, and this is I'll not get into a lot of details for it because I'm sure you'll be provided with material for the same, which will be very detailed for you to understand, right? So moving ahead, again, these are the ways in which you can create the objects. So always when you're doing the perspective drawing, make sure that you have lines which are straight going lines, which are of very minimal opacity, so that you have the reference of the angles you're creating, right? Because eventually everything you look at is a particular shape, right? And then in that shape, you do a lot of working to make it look for say like a building, or for say like a small hut or a cart or anything, right? So you have to get your shapes and your angles very accurately for your perspective drawing to look real, right? And then you have various other geometric shapes also you can go through, right? And again, you have to take the line reference very seriously. A horizon line is supposed to be the core of what you do, right? Because that is going to decide at what level is the viewer looking at the drawing. And again, so this is of elevation. So this is, you will see a lot of this in the interior designing vicinity, right? Again, as I said, everything, most of the objects, not all the objects, but everything is moreover on a cube or a on a cube and a quadrilateral vicinity, right? You have to give it more details to enhance it and make it convincing enough that it is for say a box or a building or anything, right? So you have to be very good with your details. And then proportion, as I mentioned in the very beginning, right? Perspective drawing needs a lot of relevance to the relativity of the size, right? Any object size is always determined in perspective drawing in comparison to what is kept next to it, right? So for say, I'm just giving a very layman example, like for say you have a house and you have a tree, right? And you have a 2-story house per se, and you have a tree. If you make the tree shorter than the house per se, or probably don't take a 2-story house, take a tall standing building. And if you have a 30-story building and you make the tree also as tall as the 30-story building, of course, no, the perspective is not correct, right? Because the relativity of the size is wrong, right? So the relativity of the size, like for say if you have a 30-story building, your trees or anything of the sort, your bushes have to be at a particular height, right? Anything for that matter. If you're making a concoction, of course, if you're taking a fruit bowl, right, and you're doing a thing, of course, the size of an apple and the size of a banana are different, right? So your size proportion needs to be very accurate. If you probably make a plum fruit as big as a watermelon, it is not going to look real, right? So relativity of size is also very, 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 very important, right? And other techniques that you can use for making it easier for you if it is getting difficult for you to map the actual sizes is a grid technique, right? So you kind of just make grids in which you have a few tiles which you allot for a particular object which you think is of this size, and probably have a larger or a smaller based on that, right? So you need to have a relevance and relativity of size. Keep that in mind. So these are a few points that you should keep in mind before you start perspective, and be very detailed with the drawing, because perspective drawing is something which is moreover in a technical vicinity, right? So vanishing point, horizon points, and relativity of size, these are the 3 things you have to keep in mind while you're doing perspective drawing for it to look real and for it to look accurate.
Yeah, so for the perspective topic is more like technical, like drawing. Correct. Right? So
and it also holds the maximum. If you look at the NIFT patterns, right, the perspective drawing or the scenario based drawings hold the highest amount of weightage in the papers. You pick any paper, you will always see any scenario based topics always have higher weightage. So be very clear and be very confident with your perspective, because if you ace that, you will bag the maximum number of marks. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I think you have explained well, and we are going to keep this PDF, your notes, in the Ignite India app. So anyone, if you want to, download the PDF, you can go to app and you can download, right? So this, and also we will be posting some prospective related videos, and it's all also it's there. So in the playlist, if you see, so we have a playlist, general knowledge playlist, we have current affairs and the general knowledge. So you don't have to go anywhere. If you watch these like videos, and if you go and if on the test series also, we have like current affairs, monthly current affairs. If you can go there and if you can see solve those like the test series, nowhere you need to go, and if you watch the video, that will be also helpful. So these will be helpful for your like current affairs and perspective, color theory, elements of design, all these things related to these like topics. We have posted videos, so that will be helpful for all of you. You must watch this video. So Pritika, so I think many things today you have like covered, right? And in beginning we said, so I think now I want you to show, if you can show them like your any portfolio, any work which will be inspirational for them, for like the because they also in for especially in few like design colleges, they need like portfolio. So what is your suggestion for the portfolio, how they can make? Okay, and if you can show your current like graduation project or anything, so that will be helpful and for inspiration for them, right? One day they also have to make. So give some ideas for portfolio development, right? So and show your work, if you can share a screen and so. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll just share my screen once again, right? Okay. So this is my uh, this was my GP project that I had done, right? And I'll just take you guys very minimally as to what it exactly was. I'll just take you through the relevant points. I had worked for a brand called Louis Philippe, right? During my GP, and there what happens is that before you design a range, right, your portfolio is supposed to be something which does not really show just the end result, but it also shows the process as to how you derived at the end result, right? It is very important for you to understand. So what I started off my graduation project with, because again, for those of you who don't know, graduation project is a 6 months time that you get, which is a part of your academic curriculum, where you work in the industry, and you kind of, it's more of a, like a head start that you get, where you get to know about what are the nuances of the industry, what is the requirement, what is the industry standard, as they say. And there also you get to interact with a lot of people, right? So what I started was with a SWOT analysis as to which situation I was in. Again, reminding, I am a 2021 pass out. So while I was doing my graduation project, COVID-19 was very much there in India as well. And that led to a lot of restrictions as well. And because of which, I did take in a lot of guidance from Ignite India as to how do I go ahead with my graduation internship. So anyways, moving ahead, I did a SWOT analysis as to what are my strengths, weakness, opportunities, and what were the threats that I have currently. And then I went on to what are the steps for me to complete and commence this entire graduation project, right? So I started off with understanding the project, understanding what are my challenges, then my brand design, what is the brand language, doing that design research, and then probably ending up with a design development, right? So I started off with a market research and competitor analysis. While you're designing something, right, you are in a space where you have a lot of players, right? You have a lot of different markets, different categories, and you always have to be updated and renew yourself as to what is happening in the market, right? So probably I pulled out a few brands which were relevant to the brand I was working in, and I move ahead. So probably I went to the market and literally saw samples as to how's the fabric, what kind of panelizations they're doing. So this was my panelization, the things that I found out for prints and graphics, what are the print techniques they're using, what are the kind of aesthetics they're going with. So those were the few things I researched on, right? And going to different brands, embroidery was very much relevant that time. So these were the few things that I went ahead with. The kind of neck variations you have, some of them have ribbed, some of them have a little bit more of a square neck, some of them have tipping, some of them have a rugged neck, the kind of key details, like, the different kind of buttons they're using, top stitch detail, twill tape details. These are the few things that you do minute research on, because when you are designing a garment, it needs to be socially viable. And what is the key to being socially viable? The first step is to understand and know what the market is doing, right? So it's very important for you to do a market research. So I did my market research, and then we went ahead with consumer research, right? And as you must, if you've been following the session, you know that I've always been very much focused on the fact that your designs need to be commercially very, very, very viable. Only then can you be termed as a good designer, right? So you do a consumer research, like as to what is going on in consumers' mind right now, right? So the boards that you see ahead are divided into 3 parts. So the first one starts with, like, first, if I have novel sustainable practices, what is happening around the world irrespective of the apparel brands. Then we penetrate to how is, for say, for example, novel sustainable practices are going in the apparel group, in the apparel vicinity. What can we do for apparel group? And then probably after that we penetrate to what can we do for our own brand. So these are the 3 variations that you need to have, right? Like, was for say at that time during for SS22 summer spring 22 collection, sustainable practices, because that time COVID was around, a lot of people were looking into sustainability. So that's how we wanted to do, bring in more sustainable fabrics, be more mindful of the things you're doing. Then moving ahead, personalization was something that was happening a lot during that time. Embroidery was playing a lot of place. Since that time, again, Corona was there, a lot of people were at home and they wanted to get out. And since the work modules had also changed a lot, people wanted to go for vacation. So the kind of silhouettes you wanted to do were more relaxed. People wanted to be more comfortable where they are, be comfortable in what they wear. And office wear category that we had earlier was kind of diminishing at that time, right? And after the self-awareness, since people had so much time to think about their mental health and think more about their mental health compared to physical health, of course, are there a lot of, BTS was coming in that time. So, you capture the trends and you put them in buckets, right? BTS was coming in that time, and, a lot of pastel colors were coming in that time. So that is how we came down that probably, yes, we can use good pastel colors. Then rejuvenating heritage, right? Or there are a lot of brands, a lot of ingrown brands are coming in. So, a lot of heritage was given importance in India at that time. Right? Futurism is, again, just giving you a heads up. Futurism is where the base on which my entire collection was based, right? So again, that time, rise in the contemporary problems, like, Earth was kind of that time becoming a very difficult space to live, and Elon Musk had come in with a lot of strong opinions regarding, what can be done outside Earth and space. So that was a very, very, very discussed topic. It still is right now. From that, what we could derive are good graphics. From something we wanted to do. Utility was something which we wanted because everybody wanted minimalism. So, utility, multi usage products were coming in, right? So for that, what we did, probably have larger pockets, probably have good utilitarian garments. That was something that we were looking at, right? So this is how you do consumer research, that what is going on in consumer's mind right now and how can it be converted on an apparel stage, right? That is what you have to do. So my collection's name was Zero Gravity, right? It was based on futurism. And this was my entire collection brief, what I had to do, what I wanted to do. And this was my mood board and the kind of product references I had, right? So it was again like a mankind destination, places where people have not been, because I wanted my collection to be very heavily graphic led, and that is what the brand language also is. So we did that. We created mood boards, garment references, the kind of print techniques we want to do. So these were a few things, the boards that you create, so that anybody who's looking has an idea. So now all of this gives you gist as to how the entire mood or what the exact flavor of the entire collection is going to be, right? So after that, the key details, what are the kind of details I want to use, because apparel garment creation is not just about just a basic fabric, right? You need to add in details for it to look good, to do a price differentiation, right? So for those things, you need to add key details. And then the kind of fabrics I wanted to use, probably a self jacquard, melanges, structured knits, interlock, single jersey, a lot of those things were coming in, right?
And then after that, since I was from the knitwear design vicinity, I was, the kind of technical aspects of fabric creation. Like per se, this was a single jersey structure that we had. These are the things you'll learn in college eventually if you take knitwear designing, right? How a fabric is knitted, what are the structures. Those are the few things you will learn. So for say a single tuck PK, double tuck PK, these were the technical aspects of my project that I had to fulfill, right? So after that, coming to brainstorming. So again, as I mentioned, your portfolio is not just supposed to show your collection. It needs to show the process of how you reach the design. Because no designer can just get up one day and start designing whatever they want. You need to be very planned and organized. Just like how you have to be organized and plan in your examinations, that same way you have to continue that planning and organizing behavior across your career, right? So for the kind of graphics I wanted to do, geometric shapes, neutron, NASA posters, those are my few brainstorming. The kind of phrases I wanted to use, my form generation. So the kind of forms you wanted to use, you kind of just very roughly sketch those out, key, just very basic, like it's for you to know key, the kind of generate forms you want, the kind of elements of graphics you want. And again, when you're making a design, it's not that you just make it once and it's final, right? You experiment with a lot of placements, up, down, right, front, you do a lot of things and then take opinion, take feedback from people as to what is looking good, what combination is looking good, right? So you do a lot of design explorations in the industry, right? And then moving ahead, I had my collection starting. So we had this, we had true melanges, we did a lot of cut and sews, holographic print details, HD print. So all of these images also of reference that you're seeing are from a market survey. So you pick things from what is happening in the market and kind of put them in your portfolio, you put them in your collection, right? So that you are commercially, what other brands are doing, you are also doing the same thing. You're not somebody who's left too far behind. So, kind of doing that. These are called CADs, right? These are the technical drawings that you use to kind of do a technical drawing for an ease in construction also of the garment, right? So for say like this was a nice good gel print that was happening. It was something which we picked from Zara. These kind of neck references were picked from Zara, right? And then for say over here, these were NASA based t-shirts that we had. This was picked from H&M, where we had those translucent pocket details. And then these are the few things, the graphic details, HD prints, these things. That time Zara was doing a lot of good HD prints, minute HD prints as well. So you take a lot of reference from that. So for say like these nice embroideries, right? Those are the things, references you take, tipping on the collar. So these are the few details you have to add in your garment for it to look good, right? So this is my college work actually, which I had done during my GP. So you have all over prints coming in, where you have small elements coming in, right? You have cut and sew with your experimenting with different fabrics. So for making a collection, you need to be very dynamic and you have to have a 360-degree view as to what is happening, right? So you have pocket details, you have, side slit details, placement prints that you can do, right? So these are a few things. Again, these are indents and costings. I will not get into that because that is a very detailed. Rohit, sir, do you want me to go through the indents and costing as well for them to know, or can I move on?
Yeah, little bit you can, since you are
Sure.
here, and this is very good.
Okay.
So at least like see for viewers, this is something which you may not see in any other institute anywhere. This is very advanced level, and definitely this is inspirational for all of you, because tomorrow you will have GP, you have a industry like the internship. So these things will be helpful. At the moment, you can just take inspiration from this, whatever artwork or anything, your best work which you have, if you will put there in your portfolio, maybe you can think like how those things are commercially, like the commercially how you can make it like commercial. What are the usage, how if you have a print, right, any print artwork, can you place on t-shirt, can you place on any product, right? So if you will add that, you will show your work, and then in next small image or next page, if you can show, okay, this will be on my this cup, like I can place this, or this t-shirt I will place. So that will give very different perspective during your interview when you are in a college. Correct. Because in these design college, they are not looking for artists, they are looking for designers. They will not
Exactly.
so you have the commercial understanding, right? So for them, this is very, very important, very, very relevant. If you can take them through the course, also little bit will be.
Yeah. So again, while you're making any garment, the designer's role is not just limited to making the designing and closing, right? You have to tell, you have various vendors, right? That's where, you must be aware of the courses of B.Ed Tech, right? Where from there you get into lines of business, sourcing and buying, right? So you need to have a lot of technical knowledge, right? Like for say the kind of print I want, what is going to be the size of my print, where is it going to be placed, what is the fabric I'm going to use, right? This is my spec sheet where I write the entire guide for construction, right? So for say I have a neck rib, I have a 3 mm top stitch on the shoulder, right? I have a panel length, panel width. We write everything. And this is a basic, it's a costing that you're doing, right? This is an entire chart of costing that you do as to, for say, a print is going to take me this much rupees, the cut and sew is going to be taking me this much rupees, strips are going to take me itna paisa. So this is an entire costing you have to do because you have to be commercial viable, right? So you have to launch your products also at the prices that your competitor is launching, right? So you have to make these indents. These are more of the industrial standards. So, you have to do all these tech pack creations, and this is also a part of design collection, right? This is, you're just making the range and getting it close is not like, of course, in the exam that you're going to write right now, you're not going to have all this coming in, but you need to have the knowledge as to how to do all this, right? So you do your different pocket size details, your print details, your striper details, technique that you're going to be using of prints, right? Everything. If I have a silicone badge, where it's going to be placed, what is going to be the length, width, color, everything, right? You have to be very careful with putting this also, because this is something which is more of a guide for people to stitch and execute your garments, because as a designer we are not going to be doing that, right? So this is how you make your tech packs. I'm just going to run you through all this, right? So this is how it is. So you have to be commercially very viable as a designer, and not just at your career stage while you're giving your presentation as well, right? While you're doing your NIFT exam as well. Because don't go in with the perspective that you're an artist. Designers are not artists. Designers are here to solve problems. Designers are here to keep designs very simple and look good, right? Artists are not of that vicinity, and I know that when you get into NIFT or you want to get into NIFT, you have an artistic inclination, but also add a fusion of design to it to be more relevant, right? So, like for say, if I'm doing a cut and sew, I'm doing a print, what is going to be my height? If I have two different placements, I do it in two different things. What is going to be my main label? Every detail has to be given, right? So this is very basic. I'll just take you guys through all this. So I've cut and sew details. Yes.
This could be one of the cat question. So if somebody if you're watching it, this you can learn from here. Maybe the question will be design a T-shirt for any
Correct.
how you will be placing it. If you will go till if you will add these many details, I will sell in this much. Okay, my print cost will be this much approximately. If you will put, so this will be and similar kind of question was there I think in the CAT for designing the outfit for any international pageant or something like that. The question was there. I remember, right? Some I think IFA award or some award it was there. So you may get that was women's wear, but the question T-shirt also design a T-shirt for like World Cup is there next year, right?
Exactly. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful. They can ask you to draw on anything, right? Because for say they can ask you to
jersey. Yeah, design a jersey for Indian cricket team. That might be question.
Correct. Right? Absolutely. Yes.
So
you have to be very relevant.
Yeah, so you have to be very open and learn. I think this session is very, very helpful, very, very relevant, not only for the student who aspirants, but as well as somebody who is just studying in NIFT. For them also, it is very, very important, and they will get a lot of idea actually about the NIFT GP internship, right? And how they can get internship. If you have your CV also somewhere, if you can, so that also then it will become.
Sure. I'll show my CV.
So CV also. So for somebody tomorrow, if you need to get GP or internship, how you can make your CV, and C is in a like she already mentioned the organization name, right? Madura is Aditya Birla Group, one of the best in the industry organization to work. Very difficult to get internship or GP. They're very selective students. They get there, right? In your batch, how many people were there in the Madura?
In my batch, there were only 8 of us out of I don't know how many. Every batch has.
And also, and in your batch, internship batch, how many students were there in the Madura?
Hardly in Malaki, we had around 14 people who did internship. Out of that, only 8 got GP. And after that, I think only 3 or 4 of us got a job offer from there. But
so you can see, so imagine the whole, all NIFT, all across all NIFT, they have picked 14. 14 may say be next round 8 and then 3.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how this is very good and very if Pritika is ready to show you all this, is you all should be thankful, and I am also on behalf of Ignite India team, I am thankful for Pritika. So Pritika, if you can show your CV, it will be good. If you can show your CV, how you made it, and
I'll have to search for my CV.
okay,
Just a minute.
no problem. If you have, you can maybe you can take some time. Meanwhile, I will talk and you can stop sharing time.
Okay. I will just.
Yeah, okay. You can take
search for it and then I can do it.
Yeah. You can. So the systematic preparation for viewer for all of you, this is very important. Now, since you have just 4 weeks, so in CAT preparation, you have to divide topics, right? CAT has a 50% weightage. Always focus on your strength. This is also one you can always, if you see all the the successful people, right? They are successful because of their strength, right? So Tendulkar was batsman, just example, right? So he and we know, everybody knows that okay, he is a batsman. अगर उसको आप जैसे फुटबॉल के लिए भेज दें, किसी और गेम के लिए भेज दें, या if we will ask sometimes he used to bowl also, right? But ऐसे उसको कीपिंग के लिए भेज दें, he may not perform as a batsman. He was good. So first, what you need to do, focus on your strength. If you are good with sketching, focus on sketching. Rest also you do spend some time. उसमें भी पास मार्क है, जो जितने अच्छे आ सकते हैं आ जाए. लेकिन maybe there are other opinions also. But what till now, what I suggested my student, and they have cracked NIFT also, right? So everyone, you also focus on your strength. If you want to score well, rest if somewhere, if you feel, because since now time is less, similar similar question if you would have asked me the 1 year ago, अगर 1 साल का टाइम है, ठीक है, वीकनेस पे भी काम कर लो, स्ट्रेंथ पे, बट अभी but just you have one year, right? Sorry, 1 month. 1 month. So in 4 weeks, Pritika, are you able to find out your CV?
Yeah. I have my CV. I will show you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So for CV also, I had taken a lot of guidance from Ignite India as to how to create my CV, because CV is the first thing you send even as students to organizations to hire you for internships, right? So CV is supposed to be something, since we are designers, we need to have a good aesthetic front. We can't have the very boring template kind of CVs, right? So I'll just give you a brief dissection of what my CV comprises of. So basically, this is where I have an imagery of myself. I have my Behance links, I have my LinkedIn link, my contact details, right? And after that, I have written my a small brief or a small 1-minute pitch of myself as to why should you hire me and what are my strengths, right? And then probably my education as to where and all I have studied, the kind of languages I'm fluent in for, because it's very important for communication, the kind of softwares that I currently work for, right? And this is my work exposure, so where and all I have worked and what are the kind of roles and responsibilities I've had. So I've also written a brief of that. What are the projects, apart from what I'm doing in my career right now, right? Like as I had as Govind sir had asked me which what are the verticals I'm handling. So currently I'm handling menswear, right? But I do have interest in kids wear and styling as well, which is there on my behance. So I've written a little bit about that, right? So you have to make your CV very, it needs to be compact, but it needs to be very informative, right? And then moving ahead, it's about my skills. So what are the skills I hold, and if you have any awards and recognitions, so that also. So you have to write about your skills, your recognition, if you've been recognized, and which is relevant for the industry or for the job that you are applying in. So it needs to be compact, but it needs to be very, very informative. And don't write a lot of things about yourself, because leave a little bit of mystery for the recruiter to call you up and ask you as to, what are your more interests, your more details, we would like to know more about you. So this is how you have to, this is again, you can have a very different way of creating your CV. This is how I wanted to create my CV, the kind of color palette you want, the kind of colors which represent you, right? You need to bring in, like, for say, green represents a lot of optimism, a lot of, kind of a person I am. Pink represents, the kind of attributes, the colors represent is what which is what correlates with me also as a person, right? So the kind of colors you choose, the kind of layout you choose, it all depends on you, and you can do a lot with your CV, right? Never treat a CV like, the very templated CV that you have. We are designers, we have tools, we have the power of making things look very aesthetic. So use that power and, make your CV stand out, because that is the first impression of yourself that you're sending out to any company or industry. Yeah.
Okay, so I think you have covered most of the things. Just I want to know about, I want you to tell about the campus, NIFT Bangalore. You graduated from NIFT Bangalore. So how is campus? How is hostel? Okay, and how was overall experience in your NIF?
So my experience at NIFT was very, very nice. I had a lot of fun, right? The most important part after you get into the college, guys, is to have fun, right? You need to enjoy yourself, because if you're not enjoying where you are, you will never learn and you would never want to excel in your life, right? So college will give you a lot of learning. I learned a lot of things in college, which are not just in the academic vicinity, just in life as well, right? You learn in a lot of things on your personal end, you learn how to be independent, right? And you get to learn about a lot of things. Coming to the hostels, so yeah, the accommodation, I can only speak of NIFT Bangalore because I am from NIFT Bangalore. We had an accommodation for a year of hostel, which was very well provided. It was nicely furnished. We had all the facilities that you require to have a comfortable stay. And first year hostel was provided to everybody, and second year hostel, if you want to continue with the hostels in second year, you get an option. There's a lottery system that happens, and if you are lucky, you get to reside in the hostel for the second year as well. But again, that is a choice, that is not a compulsion. And moving ahead, again, the faculties also at any of the NIFTs, I'm sure, are very helpful. You can always go back to them and ask them for doubts and things like that. And in NIFT, the advantage is that, even if you're given a task or if you're given anything, as designers, you do have the freedom to execute your own concepts, your own topics, right? So you do get a lot of freedom, and more than having the bookish knowledge, it's more important for you to have a nice visual representative talent for you to showcase, right? You need to be very good with that. And again, be very consistent. There are a lot of things, for say, an attendance, and your classes, the kind of, you have sports happening, so you have those basic small evaluations also that keep happening in between. So those are the things you need to keep in mind. In KD, we had various subjects. The foundation program that you have the first year of the program is where it's a mixed lot, right? You have you don't just study with your batch, with your course people. You have various courses, students coming and joining in to study with you, so it's a mixed batch, right? And over there you learn the fundamentals of design. You have elements of design, visual representation, VNR. You have digital design where you learn about different software on which you work and execute your work, right? So those are a few things. And after you finish your first year, you go to your particular departments that you have chosen, right? So I was in network designing, and Knitwear designing again comprises of, to not assume knitwear designing to be the woolen knits. It's not that, right? A lot of people still think of it that way. Knitwear designing is basically it comprises of sportswear, athleisure, lingerie, all of these intimate wear, outerwear, all of these come under knitwear designing, right? So if you are interested, and again, fashion designing is more of woven fabrics, right? So woven fabric may, what you house are Indian wear garments, more of those Indian heritage based garments, or formal wear. So those are the specifications that you have if you take FD, right? Another misinterpretation that is there of NIFT is that FD is one of the best courses that you have, and all the other sub courses are not that great. Based on the kind of career you want to choose, right? If you want to be a casual wear designer, or if you want to follow the kind of portfolio I've shown, right, of t-shirts and graphics and all of that, knitwear designing is a course that is more relevant, because the fabrics that you use for t-shirts, innerwear, lingerie, sportswear, athleisure are knits only, right? You don't use woven garments. You don't use woven fabrics most of the places. Only for outerwear, if you want to use, or sportswear, in some places woven fabrics are used, but majorly it's all knits, right? So if you want to get into Indian wear and things like that, then FD is a very good space. Otherwise, active wear and all of these, you should choose KB, right? Because that is where you will have the faculties, you will have the opportunities to make your portfolio that way, right? And initially, for you to bag a good internship opportunity or a good graduation project opportunity, you need to have your portfolio which is very commercially viable, right? Like what happens again sometimes is that in NIFT also, sometimes you can get into the very college. So college does teach you a lot of things, but that is as per their curriculum, right? You need to be more open to learning as to what is happening in the market, and make a portfolio which is slightly more elevated than your actual curriculum, right? Because what is happening in the curriculum is something which everybody is doing, right? You need to have additional projects which kind of differentiate you from others, right? Only then will you be able to get opportunities in good places in the industry, right? And that is very important for you. Be persistent, have a good portfolio. For the first and the second year, you will learn basics of design. You'll get to know what is the you'll kind of learn how to have a knack of things, right? What you like doing, what you don't like doing, right? And from third year, probably when the internship era starts, right, start building a portfolio, because that is very important. Don't leave it for last minute, and get your portfolio reviewed by faculties. And your, if like how I was associated with Ignite India from the very beginning, so I always was very comfortable to go back there and take feedback, and I still do now as well, right? So that is something that you can always do. Get your portfolio, start with your portfolio from the very beginning, have a good fruitful and informative CV, right? So if you have these things, only then will you be able to kind of grab better retail based or e-commerce based opportunities, if that is where you want to go. Yeah.
So finally, I want you to conclude with your tips for the NIFT aspirant. For
Yeah.
what is 5 important things as for you?
Yeah. The 5 important things are: number one, plan everything that you're doing. Have a schedule. Be very, because you will have your 12th also happening. Have everything planned with you, right? Do not waste time. Second, relax. When you're giving the exam, if something has gone good, something has gone bad, move on. You have very limited time. Have good time management skills, right? Third, do not go in with 100% artistic approach, right? You need to go in with a designer, commercially viable, easy to understand approach. Do not overcomplicate your CAT questions, right? Be very simple, be very clean, be very easy, right? Fourth is that refine your general knowledge skills, and for your drawing skills, and your creative ability test, take in a lot of feedback, right? And the fifth, last, and the most important point is refer to a lot of study materials, do a lot of mock tests. That is something which is very, 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 very crucial for cracking not only NIFT, any examination, right? You need to keep solving your mock tests, because that is going to give you an idea as to what will your situation be in the exam hall. So these are the 5 things. Keep this in mind, and most importantly, just be consistent. Just be calm. It'll all go nice. All the best to everybody, right? And 30 days is also more than enough if you keep these 5 points in your mind.
So rightly said. Okay, so I think these are these 5 things I think everyone you should keep in mind. And thank you, Pritika, for joining. And I think it was 1 hour session, but I think we have completed more than it's already the 2 hours, almost 2 hours, right? So you have shared many things. So uh, uh, before I end the session, she has shared the portfolio, internship related to internship, how was her graduation project, CV. So all these things are very relevant for all of you. So must watch this video from you can आप इसको पूरा शुरू से जैसे पीछे जाके देख लो starting से in this is whole NIFT actually this whole video is whole your NIFT journey, right? So from beginning
Yes.
till now. So beautifully, like she has narrated everything and dedicated the time in weekend, for all of you. So thank you very much and all the best, Pritika. We hope to see you, like the way you are signing, keep signing and keep coming to coming back to Ignite India, helping others like aspirant you
Sure.
join, right? So we are looking forward to see you in another live session. All the best
Sure.
and all the best, everyone. The all NIFT aspirants. We'll see you in the next live session very soon. Till then, you stay safe, stay positive, right? And you can refer our references. You can refer the videos. You can anytime if you want to connect. There is Ignite India
Yeah.
Instagram page. You can follow and directly message there. We will answer your query. So all the best. And
All the best.
this I will end the session.